Your presence has been detected and recorded. Thank you.
Zibo 737-800X complete checklist. Preliminary pre-flight procedure. Battery, on and covered. Standby power, on and covered. Ground power, on. AC/DC voltmeter, battery and ground power. Left and right IRS mode switches, nav. Cabin utility power, on. IFE and passenger seat power, on. Emergency exit lights, arm and cover. Exterior lights as required. Anti-collision light, off. Window heat as required. IRS and airport reference position, set. Probe heat as required. Anti-ice for wings and engine as required. Engine hydraulic pumps, on. Electric hydraulic pumps, off. Fuel pumps, all off. Trim air on. Isolation valve, open. Left and right recirculation fans, auto. Engine bleeds, on. Fuel, before APU start, load. Cruise and landing altitude set. Fasten seatbelts to auto. Route, perf and NIT, N1, and trim, set and executed. Altimeter, QNH set. APU bleed, off. Left AFT fuel pump, on. APU, hold for 3 seconds, start. APU generator, when available, on. APU bleed, on. AC and DC voltmeter, battery and APU gen. Pre-flight procedure. Flight directors, on. Auto throttle, off. IAS and Mach selector, V2 and 15. Altitude, cruise altitude. Fuel flow switch, reset, and rate. Minimums for radio and baro, set to radio. Landing gear lever, down. Speed brake lever, down. Thrust levers, closed. Engine start levers, cut off. Parking brake, set. Yaw damper, if IRS aligned, on. Passengers, board. Push back and start. System B electric hydraulic pump, on. Fuel pumps with fuel, on. Anti-collision light, on. Position light, steady. Auto throttle, arm. Engine start. Left and right packs, off. Engine ignition, left or right. Engine 2 start switch, ground. Engine 2 start lever idle at 25% N1. Engine 1 start switch to ground. Engine 1 start lever idle at 25% N1. Engine 1 and 2 generators on. System A electric hydraulic pump on. AC and DC voltmeter, battery and generator 1. Probe heat on. Anti-ice, wings and engine as required. Left and right packs, auto. Isolation valve, auto. APU bleed, off. APU, off. Taxi procedure. Flaps set for takeoff. Taxi lights, auto. Runway turn-off lights as required. Before takeoff procedure. Engine start switches, continuous. Auto brake, RTO. Runway turn-off lights, off. Position lights, strobe and steady. Landing lights, on and extend. ATC and TCAS, TA and RA. Heading bug, runway heading. VNAV and LNAV on. Lower ECAM display, blank. Takeoff and climb procedure. Clock and timer, start. Throttle at 40% N1, stable. Parking brake, release. Throttle, N1 in toga, V1 and V2 per procedure, altitude greater than 400 feet on autopilot, flaps retract per procedure, auto brake off, engine start switches to auto, landing lights off at greater than 10,000 feet, altimeter setting MSL and STD. Cruise procedure, CTR fuel pumps empty, off, autopilot and FMC check, and descent altitude set. Descent procedure, descend using altimeter intervention, engine start switches continuous, fasten seat belts at lower than 15,000 feet on, landing lights at lower than 10,000 feet on. Approach procedure, altimeter setting set QNH, altitude, approach, ILS course and frequency set, V-card approach speed reference set, minimums for radio and baro set, flaps set, speed brakes armed, auto brake as required, landing gear down, retractable and taxi lights on. ILS landing procedure, nav1 and nav2 set, both nav1 and nav2 are required for auto land. Pilot and first officer ILS, CRS, set. When localizer established, VOR, lock. When glide indicator established, approach. When single channel on PFD, command B. Landing procedure, throttle at retard closed. Reverse thrust on, reverse thrust at 60 knots off. Landing roll procedure, speed brakes down, flaps retract, landing lights off, probe heat off, stab trim 4 units, APU if required, start, position lights steady, weather radar off. Parking procedure, parking brake set, APU bleed on, APU generator on, fasten seatbelts off. Shutdown procedure, engine start levers cut off, transponder on standby, exterior lights all off, fuel pumps off, window heaters off, anti-ice off, electric hydraulic pumps off, engine hydraulic pumps off, left and right recirculation fans off, flight directors off, auto brake off, APU off, APU and engine bleeds off. Secure procedure, cabin utility power off, IFE and passenger seat power off, emergency exit lights off, left and right packs off, left and right IRS mode switches off, yaw damper off, engine start switches auto, trim air off, ground power off, standby power off, battery off. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to see more.